Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at a Vikavolt in the Open Ultra League, and we're going to have an interesting team here around this one. We're going to run the Togekiss, a Pokemon that you don't really see nowadays, but I kind of want to take a look a little bit more into this Pokemon, because I feel like it actually is really solid in the current meta, especially if we can take a look at what is currently meta. Otherwise, we're in really high elo right now, which is the main reason why I wanted to try out Vikavolt, because I wanted to tank some elo, and I definitely did this successfully with this team here and with this Pokemon itself. And yeah, like honestly, it's going to be a tough one to really get this Pokemon to work. But here, first game, we're going to actually be able to get a shield advantage here, which is nice, as now our Togekiss is going to be able to farm them all the way down. We will see that they're going to have a Registeel in the back, but we used an Elite TM here just to get Aura Sphere on this Pokemon, which is going to do a ton of damage against the opponent's Registeel. And we're going to just stay in so we can take the move from the opponent and keep a shield advantage here for our Ampharos in the back. We're going to be able to have still the Brutal Swing here, which is going to do some decent damage, but maybe I should have went straight for it because they're going to decide to go for the bait here against me, going for the Zap Cannon. Now it's going to be the Poliwrath against our Ampharos, Shadow Ampharos, going for the Focus Blast. Yes, we're running Focus Blast over Trailblaze just because of the coverage move basically for Steelix potentially, as well as for Virizion as this or Saysop. There's no real reason in my opinion to go for Trailblaze on the Ampharos. It doesn't really work out too well in my opinion at least, but we can still go ahead and go for a Brutal Swing here. Is this enough after the debuff of the Zap Cannon? It is, and we can still win this first game, which is really cool. So, into the next one, Blastoise lead. Good for our backline, not so good for our lead, but we're gonna get out the Virizion, so we kinda get hard-walled here, but this is the main reason why I wanted to keep my, my charge move here of Focus Blast, which is going to be neutral against the opponent. Going to do some very decent damage here, as we will see that it's going to do around like 80% of the opponent's health. But I sadly won't be able to realign unless I'm going to use 2 shields, which it's just not worth it, to be fair. But I will be able to go into my Charm user here again with Togekiss. Togekiss is so cool in the current meta because there are so many Virizions, there are so many Cobalions, there are so many Giratina, but also there are so many Steelix in the current Ultra League meta, which is getting completely hard-walled by Togekiss, which is the cool thing about this Pokemon. Here right now, this is going to be a very difficult matchup in general, as you're going to have to encounter now the Clefable, which is very spammy and very bulky. So while we can try to go for some discharge damage here, we're going to see already the weakness of Vikavolt. And this is the main thing why I really feel like this community day was such a waste. The thing is, with this Pokemon, if you just gave it something like Electro Web, which is something that would learn in the main series games, which would be a Icy Wind clone basically in the main series, like in this game here right now, as an electric type, it would be just so much better than what it is right now. Like here, Volt Switch is really cool on Charger Bug, but it doesn't help Vikavolt at all. And I feel like this would be something that you could have added already when you added like Volt Switch to Magnezone plus the Regieleki in the beginning of the season, instead of just giving it as a community day. I really would have rather seen some more creative option for the Vikavolt, as Vikavolt is still not really that decent in the current meta sadly, and is just outclassed by other bug and electric type Pokemon like the Galvantula, for example. So I'm not sure really why Niantic did it for this community day. I really wish that they did the Vikavolt a little bit better there, as just the bulk isn't there. Your discharge is like, discharge in general is such a horrible move sadly. It's 65 damage for 45 energy, which is really bad if you really think about it. So maybe it's going to get buffed eventually though. I would see a discharge buff for the upcoming season. I'm pretty certain that we most likely going to get something like this. But here and now, we're still going to be able to most likely go for the Ancient Power against the opponent's Charizard, which does not really help me too much, as they're going to be able to go for the Blast Burn and not knock me out, but one more Ancient Power is all it takes to knock them out here. But it's still going to be a loss, as the opponent is going to be able to farm me all the way down with the Obstagoon. I have 2 Exodus stored, but they also have a move stored, and while 2 Exodus most likely would knock them out here, definitely would, I'm still going to take this Night Slash here, and I'm barely going to lose this game. So good game to the opponent, very close one here. So moving on to the next game, we're going to have a great lead here of the Shadow Dragonite against us. They're actually lagging for like 1 turn or something, not too crazy, as they're going to decide to stop out into the Jellicent, where I most likely should have went into my Vikavolt instead, as Vikavolt has access to Discharge, which at least is going to be a stab. Here we're going to only have Brutal Swing, which in general is a better move to go for, but it's not stab, and as you can see here, they're still going to be able to survive that one. So I'm going to be forced to go for my next Brutal Swing as well, which is going to force a shield from the opponent, as they want to get a shield from me as well. But I'm I'm totally fine with that, as I can just go for the full farm down here, which they cannot stop, as we will see that they're gonna go back into the Dragon Knight, where I will be able to just go into my Vikavolt now against the Registeel. It's still going to be a tough battle to win here, as we are going to be able to go for the discharge. They're going to let the first move go through, which is really nice for us, because now they could try to debuff us, which they're going to do here as well. And of course, they're going to get the debuff immediately, so at least we're going to get the most amount of damage off against the opponent already, as we will reach for another discharge. Going to get them fairly low, and we are barely missing out onto the next one. I'm going to use a shield here just in case, as I should be able to outspeed the opponent here afterwards. But as you're going to see right now, I'm going to decide to swap out here, which maybe was not the smartest idea. I expected that the opponent would want to swap out as well, but they didn't. And like this, the opponent is going to still have to take a charge move here, but it's going to be close as the Dragon Knight has a move stored. We will be able to not get another fast move off, so they can go for the knockout here against me with a Dragon Claw, and it's going to be close. Can Vikavolt win this game? With just a 1 HP, we were able to still win this game here, which is amazing for me. So, next opponent, we have a fairly awkward lead, but they decide to swap out into a Charizard, which is fine for me because I have my own Ampharos here, so I will be able to go for my Brutal Swing and try to go for the full farm down here. I'm going to decide to use a shield against the opponent as they go for the Dragon Claw bait. That's fine for me. I can get another shield here or the knockout, and even if they want to shield this move up, I will be able to get out of this matchup with an energy lead, as well as still a lot of health onto my Pokemon, which is going to be amazing for me. They decide to go into the Golisopod, where I wanted to go up to a Focus Blast for whatever reason, which does not make sense at all, but luckily I still survive an Exeter, so I will be able to get some damage onto them here with the Brutal Swing, and now I can swap into my Vikavolt, and let's see what they're going to go into. They're going to stay in, and we can get the knockout here against the opponent already, and now it depends on what they're going to have in the back. Like, Liquidation comes through, we can still survive it, but sadly we're going to get the drop of our defense, which hopefully doesn't matter too much, as they're going to have the Registeel here in the back. I can go for one discharge, I can go for another discharge, but I'm fairly certain that they're going to put me into a lock-on down range onto my other Pokemon there, so it doesn't really matter if I swap out here or not, if I swap into my Togekiss, because I'm fairly certain they would have needed to get, like, they would have been able to go for the full farm run anyway. So I just have to hope they can still reach a charge move here in time. We will see that the opponent goes for a Zap Cannon here. Gonna get again the attack drop, and I don't think with the attack drop, an Ancient Power wouldn't have done enough damage from this range. Without the attack drop, we would have been fine there, but of course our opponent gets every single attack drop every game. So here we're gonna now see the next opponent having an Alolan Sandslash. This is a little bit of an awkward matchup for us, as our team kind of struggles against this Pokemon. Having two electric types in the back, which at least one of them is going to be weak against the ground type move Drill Run, is going to be a little bit awkward, but luckily the opponent was able to catch a move, which was the Brutal Swing here onto their Giratina, allowing me to even get to another Brutal Swing and getting some damage onto them, and even getting the shield here from the opponent back, which is going to be amazing for me. So I will be in a fairly okay spot, as I can let this move go through. They're going to knock me out, but I should be able to just farm down with Volt Switch Vikavolt here, getting some extra energy already, and we will see the Cresselia coming in. And here's just the issue with this Pokemon. I'm going to use a shield here because I know that if like Moonblast going to do around like 60% of my health. I'm super squishy on this Pokemon, which is not really ideal. So Exeter is going to do some very decent damage, but even another Exeter is not going to be enough to knock them out, as we're going to see here right now. It is not going to do enough, and I'm going to decide to swap out, which doesn't work out either, as the opponent decides to swap out themselves into their own Sandslash, which is going to be a little bit awkward as the Ice Punch is coming through, doing super effective damage. They go for another charge move here immediately afterwards, which is a smart decision here for sure, but as we can see, I can try to go for the full farm down, does not work out at all, and we are going to lose this battle here, as also the Cresselia already had a move start anyway, so I am fairly certain that it didn't really matter anyway. So let's take a look at the next opponent. Great lead for us. We're going to see the Regirock coming in, and yeah, like here we're going to at least be able to survive one move with our Ampharos, which is nice, compared to our Vikavolt, which would just go down from one Stone Edge. And I decide to go for a shield here. I lagged a little bit in the beginning, by the way. I saw a lot of people complain online about this as well. I don't have it too often, but I have it sometimes as well, where like there's a lot of speed up lag, which basically gives you the moves back, but like you cannot swap out or do anything in between, so it's a little bit awkward. But here we're still going to be able to reach another Brutal Swing, and we still have to use another shield here. I'm fairly certain that the damage already should have went through from the Volt Switch though, so that was kind of wild. So now we're 2 shields down. I can still go for a Brutal Swing and get the damage onto the opponent, as they're not going to shield this one at all. and we get them into the red health, which is going to be nice. But again, we're going to have now 2 Pokemon without a shield against, a Sand Session in the back. There's no lot that I can do about it as I can move on into the next game. Togekiss against Virizion. Great lead for us, as we're going to see that they swap out into the Greedent, and I don't really have a decent answer for the Greedent. As I decide to go for a charge move, I go into my own Vikavolt, because Vikavolt going to be able to at least have neutral damage from the Mud Shot, while our Ampharos would take super effective damage from Mud Shot. Doesn't really matter at the end of the day, but Exeter is also the better move to go for compared to the Brutal Swing, I guess, so that's totally fine here for me. We will see that they're going to go for another charge move. We're going to use a shield against the Body Slam, and I decide to go for my Exeter here. They're going to most likely go for their shield here as well. And I was like thinking, I get the extra fast move in here, I should be fine just farming them all the way down here, right? Of course not. They survive with 1 HP my Volt Switch and then get to the move just 1 turn before I can get my damage into them. So now we are shield down, we have the switch advantage lost, and while this is a decent matchup, I would have basically no play with my Ampharos here, so I would just decide to forfeit this game, as there was no lot that I can do about it. Next opponent, we're going to see the Ampharos coming in here against the Toxicroak, which is very great as we were able to catch the super effective Mud Bomb here instead of the Sludge Bomb. Great for me, of course, as I'm going to use a shield here, as I will be able to force a shield from the opponent as well, slash switch advantage in general, if I'm going to be able to just hit this move, which they're going to shield up for whatever reason, so it's a little bit awkward, but I can just go into my own Togekiss as they decide to go into their Heliolisk. And that's going to be a tough matchup for me, but honestly, usually they're running Grass Knot plus Breaking Swipe, and I have to hope that they do the exact same here, so I'm going to no-shield this one. They have a ton of energy, Breaking Swipe comes through, and I can decide to swap into my own Volt Switcher with my Vikavolt. Fairly certain that they're going to have a ton of energy stored, so I'm going to go straight for my exercise. I win the CMP tie here against the opponent. This will get the knockout against them, and we will see the opponent having the Jellicent in the back, so maybe there's still a chance for me. But great catch by the opponent here onto the Toxicroak, which definitely had enough energy though to get to another charge move anyway, so it does not really matter too much, I would say. But here it's going to be a little bit awkward because we are debuffed, and I don't really think that we're going to be too fine here. Of course, Breaking Swipe debuff really going to hurt me here, as I would have been able to knock them out otherwise. And as we're going to see here, they can go for a charge move, Surf coming through, and they can still survive just barely a Volt Switch, and sadly we're going to lose this battle just based on 1 Breaking Swipe debuff. Can we basically end this video on a positive note? We're going to have a Steelix in the back, and this is going to be amazing for me, because this is basically why Togekiss is so strong in the current meta. Here I also went into the wrong Pokemon, most likely. Should have went into my other one and not into my Ampharos, but I'm still going to be able to go for 2 Brutal Swings here, which is going to be able to get some damage onto them. Doesn't even get the shield, but this next one going to either get the knockout or the shield, and I'm totally fine. But Steelix has nowhere to go against the Togekiss, which is so much fun to see, because Steelix is everywhere right now, making Togekiss a really cool pick in the current meta. We will see the Brutal Swing coming through, we get some extra damage on here, and they cannot do anything against me. Like, some are running Heavy Slam, but it's fairly rare, as Earthquake is kind of needed on this Pokemon. We will see that they're going to stay in here, but it just does not really matter too much for me, because I'm going to be able to just completely destroy them anyway. They go for another Breaking Swipe, but like, it does not really do too much damage, as I can go for my own charge move here, which would do super effective damage. They decide to shield, and they decide to swap out into the Toxicroak, allowing me to swap into my Vikavolt, having a fairly neutral matchup as I resist the fast move from the opponent. But of course, they still hit me harder, as counter from a Toxicroak especially still hits hard even if it's resisted. But we're gonna get some damage onto them, and I can just let this move go through, knowing that I still survive a Mud Bomb here from this range, as it's only neutral. I can still go for Exeter against the opponent's Steelix, and this is going to be amazing for me, as I get the shield from them, and I just have to hit 1 more Aura Sphere to win this game here. So let's see, we can use a shield here for a potential harder hitting move, but now we're going to see that they can still go for an Earthquake here. Let's see how much damage it's going to be. Double resisted like the other move as well. Doesn't do anything, and the Aura Sphere is all it takes to knock them out, and this is going to be it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed this one. It's mostly the only one that I'm going to upload today, so definitely check out the other one about Shadow Blaziken for the other cup already, which I uploaded earlier on, so definitely check that video out. See you then, bye bye.